Welcome to Artistic Adventures. We're going to continue our Obitsu project today by making a pair of little hiking boots for the doll. I had a little bit trouble making this video today. I had a needy puppy. This is Belle. She wanted to sit on my lap the entire time. I don't know what happened to her, but anyway, let's get started. I said in the previous video where I made the sandals that I was going to use the flat soles, and ended up deciding not to use those because I want to put a tread on the bottom of these little boots. So I'm going to make another pair of outer soles. These are a little bit thicker, and the reason I did it this way is so that I can cut out a portion in the middle there to designate the area between the heel and the toe, and then I can put a little grid marking on the heel and the toe part so it'll look like the tread of hiking boots. So I'm just using my X-Acto to make some cross marks on that soft clay, and then it'll look a little bit like the sole. And you can see there the difference between the front and the back. Now, after I finish doing that, we're going to put it on some aluminum foil, and you can see a little bit better there the tread marks. And then we're going to bake those for 30 minutes. And while we're doing that, then we can work on the pattern for the outer boot. So I'm using paper towel, and I'm just outlining with the pen the area that I want to make out of leather, and then I positioned it onto cardstock, and I added the tongue to that vamp part that will go up the front of the boot, and cut out two of each of those out of red leather. And then I have the cardboard inner sole that I'll be using as well. So now my little soles have baked, and we're ready to start assembling the boots. So the first thing that we're going to do is we're going to cut the inner sole part down to fit the outer sole now that we have it baked and everything. I like this to be just a little bit smaller than the outer sole because we're going to be adding leather and tucking under and things. I don't want it to hang over the edge too much. So now after you have those trimmed and they fit really well, then we're going to put a little dab of glue on one corner of that vamp part and glue it to the underside of the outer sole. And I'm going to let that dry completely. That'll make folding it over and gluing the other side easier. I'm also going to put some glue on the top of that other part of the boot and clamp that down and glue it, and that'll be the top of the boot, so it'll look finished. And after that's dry, then I can position it on the doll's foot, make sure it fits right, and then go ahead and fold it over and glue down that other side. And that will make the little opening for the doll's foot to go in, the toe part of the foot to go in. Now we have to fold the rest of this down, and you need to make some cuts, some little triangles out, so you're not trying to fold over that whole amount of the leather. It'll get too bunchy and it won't look smooth. So the next part, the next two up, I've folded under and glued and let those dry, and that left three more to glue down. So I put glue on the underside of those two, and then a little bit on the underside of the top one, because that'll go on top of the two that I fold down. And after you do that, then I'm going to clamp that down to make it dry really nice and firm. All right, now you can see we have the toe part glued down to the inner sole, and the tongue part is sticking up. And we try it on their doll again, and it fits nicely. And now the next part is to glue the outer sole to the inner sole. And I'm just doing the toe part first so I can clamp it down. And then after that dries, we can go back in and glue down the heel part of the inner and outer soles. There's a lot of gluing goes on in this process, and it takes longer than it looks on the video, but it's easier to do it in steps or it just won't go together well. All right, so now we have the inner and outer soles completely glued together, We're ready to start adding that big part of the boot to the sole. We're just putting a little tip of glue on the back of the boot and gluing just that back part. Once that's dried, then it's much easier to glue the sides. And we're just going to put a little bit of glue along that edge, right where the inner and outer sole meet, and glue the sides of the boot down to that. Now after that dries, we can go in and start putting some holes in it, but it's really important to get all these parts nice and dry before we start doing that, or it'll just come apart. All right, and I'm using my wine cork, and I poked 4 holes on each side, and really move that pointy tool around once you get it into the hole to make the hole wider, because the string that I'm using is fairly thick. I wish I'd had something maybe a little thinner and I could have used a needle to thread it through the holes, but I didn't. So this was actually the most frustrating part of this whole project, and I had to use a pointy tool to get it through the holes. So I did that off camera because I didn't want you to see me struggling with it. Okay, so now I've got it all laced up off camera, and I'm using my little turning tool here to pull the laces tight. And once I have those tight, then I can just go ahead and tie the top in a bow like a normal pair of boots. And then to finish those ends, I just tied a knot in them and put a little dab of glue on each end of the knot so it wouldn't unravel. And that's the final finish of the boot. And I'm going to go off camera and complete the other one and let you see how that looks. There they are, 2 boots finally finished, our little hiking boots. This outfit for this doll is going to be more of a grunge look, and it's untypical for me because I tend to go with like fairies or queens or really fantastic outfits. But this one's going to be a little different, so it'll be something to look forward to. We're going to continue with this Obitsu project and complete her look. So be sure to subscribe so you don't miss a thing. Thanks and bye.